He bends down to pick up something and his junk falls out of his shorts. It totally happened. How scary, right? Like, I was just like, I have another client coming in 2 minutes, so I don't have time to cut your hair. You're gonna have to leave. And he left.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Janish, owner of Adored Salon and Adored Signature Hand-Tied Hair Extensions. I'm obsessed with curly hair. I cut it, style it, and extend it, and this podcast is all about my curly girl obsessions that stretch far beyond just curly hair.
Hey there, it's me, Jennifer, from the Curly Girls Obsessions, coming to you live after a very long break. If you are a hairstylist, you know December is nuts, and then you get into the doldrums of January, and it's like you're just recovering from everything that just happened the last 3 months. And you, at least if you're me, I kind of go into like a cocoon where I don't even want to talk to anybody. I don't want to be out there. I think I even fall into seasonal depression. It just happens. Like, the salon gets quieter. My thoughts have more time to invade my mind. And yeah, I just kind of shut down. I ended off last year with how I start out the new year, which is with that awesome planner that I linked. And yesterday, I went through and did all the things. Now, you're like, Jennifer, it's February. I know. I just told you what January was like for me. So I just got to give myself a month of grace after all the chaos. And then it puts me in a good mindset to get this started. I live in the Midwest. It has snowed here so much this year. And snow kind of also puts me in a funk. So that's where I was all of January. Seemed to start right after Christmas. The Christmas stuff came down, and then the January doldrums set in. But enough about that. Enough about that. Actually, not enough about that. Because kind of what this podcast is about is all the parts that matter. They're important. They're so important when you're building your brand, your name, your everything, right? It's like the sum of all the parts equal the person on the other side. And when it comes to being a hairstylist, it really does become the sum of all the parts that equal the other person. If I could start with when I started out as a hairstylist, like if I really wanted to go way back, right? I would start when I was 4, teaching myself how to French braid, because I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And, you know, obviously at 4 years old, and you're determined enough to learn how to teach yourself how to French braid, like, I guess that just set me up for the rest of my life, right? Like how it was going to be. I was pretty freaking determined. And I did teach myself how to French braid. And onward with the career of becoming a hairstylist, being always interested in hair and beauty. It just kind of was always where I landed. I loved, you know, walking to, we had this was back when you walked places and Amazon didn't just deliver it. There was a little pharmacy like half a mile from my house. I'd walk there. I'd dream up a million reasons as to why I needed to walk there. And I would walk there and I would spend hours in this tiny beauty section. And when I say tiny, like probably 2 shelves in a really like tiny pharmacy of beauty products. And always the one that stands out was like this apricot scrub that they sold in like these little pots. It had an orange top and its little label was a circle with an apricot on it. And I would go through that stuff on my skin like water. I babysat for apricot scrub, I think. And of course, lip gloss. That was my other fascination. Still is. I just placed an order on MAC Cosmetics for the lip gloss for like 5 tubes. I swear I go through it or I lose it faster than the apricot scrub. So now I'm living for MAC lip gloss, right? We all have our things. But again, it's the sum of all the parts and the pieces that make the whole in the end game. So fast forward, I go to hair school, right? I've always had curly hair. And, you know, the funny thing about being a girl with curly hair is when I was in school, there were no curl specialists. And if there was, they were just doing regular layered haircuts. And I don't even know what else. Honest to God, because like I remember getting the haircuts from hell. I remember getting the perm to reform my curls, which only turned me into a poodle. Made it curlier, and now it was even drier because it was more damaged. You know, like all the things. I think my mom tried to help me as much as she could, but she also was in the mindset of brushing out her curls. She had curly hair. I mean, it just was what it was, right? So that was back when I was in high school and grade school. And I went to hair school in high school, graduated before the second semester of my senior year. Thank God, because I did not embrace high school or school as the entity that it is, right? Like I could not stand sitting in a desk from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Like it just grated on me. It was like skin peeling. I suffered through school. But when I was old enough to go to hair school, which was when I had just turned 16 on August 11th, and I started hair school, I believe, on August 23rd that year. And it was like heaven. Half the day at hair school, half the day at regular school. I treated regular school like what I did before I did my thing. Like it was the life before the thing. Like I was living to get to the thing, getting through high school, and the thing was hair school and getting behind a chair and learning how to make money. So then, you know, life transforms. I get behind the chair, and I was a hardcore hustler. Like back in the day when I needed that apricot scrub, I had to figure out how the heck I was going to pay for it because my parents didn't have money to give me to go buy freaking apricot scrub every other day. So I figured it out, right? Like I was doing everything under the sun then to learn how to make money. So when I fell into the world of hair and I had to learn how to get a client, right? And I know this sounds absolutely crazy to the people that are probably listening to this podcast. There was not social media then. There was not this beautiful phone that's recording this podcast today. There was not email. There was none of this, right? So how did you get a client? Well, you had to be really fucking nice. Like you had to kiss a lot of ass and you had to be genuine while you were doing it, right? And people had to like you back. It was as simple as that, or else they weren't coming. So you really had to work hard. Now, I'm not saying that we don't work hard today to get a client, because damn, we do work hard today to get a client. It's just different, right? Back then, it was based on you, right? What you had to put forward, what you had to give, and what they could absorb from you in the first, 5 minutes of meeting you. If you were strong enough, which you had to be strong enough, to be bold enough to just go out of your way to talk to a stranger or think out of the box, that was great. Now you've got social media. It kind of is a buffer, right? They can find you, search you, see if they like your work before they make an appointment. You really and truly don't have to talk to them unless you are strong enough to do live videos and put yourself out there in that way. But there again, like, there's a lot of people who struggle with that. And I kind of thank my old school background for the fact that I enjoy being on this camera. I don't have a problem talking to it. And literally, shit, I probably talked to the wall a lot when I was younger, or to myself, because on here, I'm talking to you, the audience, with my story, and I'm comfortable with it. And in order to gain a client in today's world, you kind of have to be comfortable talking to that person behind what they're watching, right? And so as a hairstylist, as someone who's growing their business behind the chair, you're like, how do I find that person? Well, one, you start with telling them the parts that make the whole. You start with where you started, because they're interested in you. They want to know how you got there. They want to know your background story. Is there anything that you have in common with them that's going to click while they're in that chair? And it's important. It's super, super important. And it's so important too, not to always capture the highlight reel. Why? Because that's not real life, right? So the sum of all the parts, like, yeah, I loved hair school. I loved getting out of high school. I started in the first salon that I ever worked at when I was 17 years old. And back then it was common that was it common? I don't know if it was common. I just think it might have been the place where I actually started, that you were left alone at night or on the weekends. And someone always had to work a Sunday. So guess what? The new girl was going to be there on Sundays. And on Sundays, you were by yourself. Totally sucked. I hated working by myself. I to this day say to my team, like, I cannot work by myself. And it's because I like people, number one, and I like talking to them, number two. And even though, like, it's your client, you're like, right, you're thinking in your head, well, you have clients coming in, so you're really never alone. But you are alone in your peer group if nobody is working with you in the salon to get the job done, right? Like, that's the beauty of Adored Salon, is there's so many of us to always throw thoughts off of, or, if someone had a bad day, we can all sit there and feel that pain with that person and help them, lift them up so that they do a better job the next day. So in this first job, when I'm alone, the last day that I worked in that salon was a Sunday that I worked alone. And why it was the last day was because this is so crazy to me. A guy came in, again, such a bizarre situation, right? But life is loaded with bizarre situations, which hence why it always helps when you have someone with you. And he wanted his hair cut, and it was awkward from the minute he came in. And it was summertime. He had on shorts, and I remember, like, he had a prosthetic leg. How could I forget? Because this is what caused the issue. And he dropped something, right? And he had crutches, I want to believe, if I remember right. And he bent down to pick up that something. Mind you, in front of me, I'm standing there talking to him. He bends down to pick up something, and his junk falls out of his shorts. That did not happen. It totally happened. How scary, right? Like, I was just like, I have another client coming in 2 minutes, so I don't have time to cut your hair. You're gonna have to leave. And he left. And thank God he left. And I locked the door. I told the owner that I was done and I wasn't coming back, right? That's one of the, hard parts of the industry is so many stylists have gone into salon suites and they want to build their own business. They want to be the boss babe. They want to do that, this, the other, right? In a hair salon, you are building your business behind the chair. It's your business within a business. And you have a team that's always there to help you too, right? Like, I'm just going to say that I believe in that to being the ultimate hairstylist model, because number one, when you're in a salon suite and you're not in the salon, you got a lot of other things to worry about that when you're in the salon owner is worrying about, right? But that team helps prevent the story that I just told you. It really does. And when shit starts going south, say you're in the middle of a color correction and it's not going the way you want, you've got other people in the salon in order to bounce ideas off of and to help you decide, like, how is this going to go down? How am I going to fix this, right? So again, that's another part of the puzzle is that I like to work with a team. I like to be with other people who are like-minded, want to grow, want to be in that upper 2% of the hairstylist industry with their career. They also love coming with me to do education. Hence, a lot of the times too, I'm bouncing ideas off of them when it comes to the education on how to make it work, right? Like, I could not do this solely by myself. It just would not happen. Like, yeah, you like to think that you're the eagle, but I'm actually like the leader that needs a really great support team behind me, right? Again, it's all part of the parts and why the story matters as a stylist growing. The other thing, like failures, right? So I'll never forget when I went to get certified in hair extensions. Now we're talking, this was 17 years ago. 17 years ago. Hair extensions were not mainstream for the Caucasian woman, or, it was not mainstream. Jersey Shore had come around and they were wearing clip-ins, and yeah, was there a lot of fun making of their hair on TV, but I think there was a lot of people that were wondering how they were going to get that. And so I started out, I went to get certified in hair extensions, and it was so crazy because it actually took me 9 months from getting certified to getting my first client. I seriously thought that there was something wrong with me. Again, social media was just on the start, right? Email was there. Were people doing email marketing? Not like they are today. It just was kind of like a really, we were just starting to see what was about to come, right? But I'll never forget in those 9 months feeling like such a failure. Oh my God, I felt like such a failure because I was like, oh my gosh, I have spent this money. The salon owner paid for half of that class. She has spent this money. And where are the results? The results were within all the free freaking models that I was doing to try and promote myself. I even made myself my own website, which at the time was pretty amazing. I gotta say, I did a great job on it, and I knew nothing about website creation. Of course, it didn't have SEO and all that other fancy stuff, but my photos were out there for people to view. And that was what was so important, because without social media, where were they gonna see these photos? And at that time too, the salon that I worked at, the website was like stock photos. That was normal, right? Normal. So how was I going to showcase these extensions that I had just learned? So I found the solution. The 4-year-old in me came out with this website, right? Like that bound and determined little girl who was going to learn how to do French braids. I was like, there has to be a way my voice can be heard. And I started the website. So from there, after 9 months, and I'll never forget that day going into the salon. And by the way, because of the method that I was trained in, I thought it was the method itself that I was trained in, which at the time was K-tips, that was holding me back. I'm like, oh, they're so expensive. Like maybe that's the problem. I need to learn how to do other things. And I learned tape-ins, eye tips. I learned wefts that were already pre-made with beads that you could pull through the hair and just attach on there. And I mean, when I tell you I learned everything, I freaking learned everything. But going back to what I was really amazing at, my client, after the 9 months, the consultation, I'll never forget. I had it on my appointment book. It was on a Friday morning, and I didn't even have okay, back it up. Friday morning, I get ready, I'm in my bathroom, and I'm like, I don't even know why I'm going in. This client, she is 100% she's not gonna sign. It's just gonna be a waste of my time, because I had been through probably 20 to 25 no's, 20 to 25, oh, I'm gonna have to talk to my husband about this. I was losing my mind. I felt like I had failed for 9 months straight, right? But I knew that I could deliver results because the models that I did looked freaking amazing, right? And they were on my site. So I get to the salon, this client comes in, and she had a short stacked bob, and I was like, at the time I didn't know any different to even care about that. And she was like, we could sit here, we could talk, you could tell me the price. She's like, but honestly, I don't give two shits what the price is. I just want my hair to be longer and look good. If you can make that happen, I'll pay you whatever you tell me it's gonna cost. What? I was so shook at that moment. I don't even think I know how to sign my name to that damn contract to make it all come together. I was blown away. And I'll never forget, in the class they told us, like, most installs are 3 to 4 bundles. Maybe you have 5 bundles. And if your client has a ton of hair, most likely 6 bundles, right? This client, she did have a ton of hair. So I price quoted her at 6 bundles. And from that client, like, I learned so much. Again, I could have called it all my failures because she had dimensional hair colors. So when I put in those K-tips, like, we had discussed in the class about blending, but you know how it goes? Like, if you don't take the information from the class and use it within the first, like, 48 hours, you lose it. So I did not think about pre-blending. I just thought I would do 2 darks to 1 light K-tip. Oh my God. Oh my God. And 6 bundles was not enough hair to cover the line from the graduated stacked bob that she had because her hair was so freaking thick. So needless to say, first I went in 48 hours later and I lowlighted all those blonde pieces and I just tried to make it blend better. Then when I did that blowout, I'm like, oh my God, who are you kidding? She needs more freaking hair in her head. So I told her, obviously from our first conversation, she did not care. We ordered more hair. That hair I did pre-blend like they told us in the class. And that took forever. Of course, I lost my pants on it. But at the time, like, did I lose my pants? Because it was the part of the story to get to the final result that mattered, right? Like, her yes was my win in so many ways. So many ways, right? So this client wore 8 bundles of K-tips at I think that's like 450 attachments because I would cut them down. Like, the amount of hours to make her install happen were very many. I lost money on the first go round. I probably lost money on the second, third, fourth, but like all the way through, right? But I learned so much, right? And now, like, fast forward to understanding a whole different method, like, I don't even use that method or any of the other methods that I thought were going to push me further at that time. Remember, I said I got certified in tape-ins, eye tips, all these things, right? Like, nope. But all those things were still learning lessons for the future. They all taught me, whether it was, that this was good or bad, or hell no, you're never going back there again. It still was a part that brought me to the end of the story. The sum of all the parts and why they matter, right? And, over the years, bad bosses taught you, or me at least, how I didn't ever want to be. I gained from it, right? So as we're coming into this new year, as we're coming into this, like, if you follow any of the zodiac, like we're getting rid of the snake. The horse is coming into motion on February 17th. That's my youngest daughter's birthday. And it's supposed to set off a year of like amazingness. If you follow any of the zodiac signs and you're into the horoscopes and the sun, the moon, and all the things, this year is supposed to be an amazing year for so many of the zodiac signs. I'm a Leo, and what they say about Leo in this year of the horse, I'm so freaking excited for. I can't wait. I hope it delivers on what it says it's going to do. And I mean, the potential is always unbelievable, right? Like, you never know how much you have to offer until you're put up against what you're offering and how you're going to do it. Or even if it's just like your journey in life, right? But this year, I really do have like a lot of hope on the horizon for amazingness. And this really and truly, like, I didn't intend it to be this way, but it is really a good follow-up to the way that I ended off the podcast, like probably like 7 weeks ago, with the planner and how your outlook should be, and how my January went, just giving myself some grace to embrace what is coming next. So I'm hoping that the Curly Girls Obsessions is going to give you exactly what you need in 2026, in the year of the horse, and all these awesome things. So my challenge to you after this podcast is definitely going to be, look to where all of your parts have made up your story, why they matter, and reflect on what affected you the most. What, if you could go back to one key moment, right? Like, my favorite song is by Eminem, Lose Yourself. And that song can be my theme song on any given day at any given time, because I feel like it takes me out of the stress of where I'm at when I need to get to that next step, because he just tells you, right? Like, you got one chance. So fucking deliver. And I'm hoping in the year of the horse that I deliver. I hope you deliver. I hope you go back to that one moment in time that you feel set you apart from maybe the trajectory of your life that was supposed to be, but you changed it into what was better. You made it what you wanted it to be from that one turn, right? And I mean, I just told you multiple ones with me, like where I succeeded and I failed. But if I had to go back to one moment, I would say it was the 4-year-old little girl on the day that she wanted to learn how to French braid, and she wasn't settling for you can't, because she figured it out and she proved to herself that anything and everything, if you follow a system and a process, and if you show up and practice over and over and over, you will be the best no matter what. So what's your one thing? I'll see you next time.